Hi everyone, welcome to today's virtual vet visit. With the help of the lovely Luna and Dexter, we're going to be looking at how to deal with muscle mass loss, particularly in our older dogs with underlying joint conditions like hip dysplasia or patella subluxation, that kind of thing. Luna and Dexter are going to be helping to demonstrate the exercises that you can do with your dog at home. We'll be looking at 3 different levels of difficulty depending on where your dog is on his muscle mass journey and how to decide which level's right for your dog. Hi, I'm Vanessa. If you haven't been to the channel before, welcome. I've been a small animal veterinarian for 39 years. Let's get right into it. Healthy animals lose muscle mass if they don't use their muscles. It really is that simple. There are a few other things that can cause it, hormonal problems, Cushing's, diabetes, kidney disease, all sorts of things. It doesn't matter. Whatever the reason for your dog's muscle mass loss, a targeted approach to maintaining that muscle is going to help him. It's going to help his joint health moving forward into old age. It's going to help his overall mobility. It's going to help him to enjoy his life more. In every which way, it's going to be beneficial. For convenience, we're going to be splitting our dogs into 3 categories, category 1, 2, and 3, depending on their physical condition, how much muscle they've lost, if at all. If you're not sure, it's okay to book a vet visit or a visit to a local veterinary physio just to see where your dog is and where the appropriate starting point will be for your dog. That's fine. And if your dog is severely affected, it's also okay to get him onto pain medication, at least until he can get into the exercises, until his muscles can become strong enough to support those joints. The idea is to get him off of pain meds so that he no longer needs them. Some dogs will if they've got underlying joint pathology, and that's okay. It's all about making your dog enjoy his life as much as he possibly can. Each category dog is going to get 2, let's call it types of exercise. He's going to get stuff he can do at home, and we're going to call that his gym routine. And he's going to get stuff that he will be doing while he's out on his walks, and we're going to call that his cardio routine. So your category 1 dog. He's the worst affected dog. He's the dog that very obviously is uncomfortable moving. He's the dog who thinks about whether or not he's going to get onto or off of the couch. He'll stand looking at the stairs before he goes up them or down them. He's slow to get up. He might even be limping occasionally. He's pretty obvious. One of the more subtle things that you can look for with these category 1 and the odd category 2 dog is the dog that is suddenly very, very interested in what is happening on the ground on his walks, particularly if he's just sort of moseying along casually. He's not racing to smell something that is of interest to him, stopping sniffing. He's just moseying along, sniffing everything as he walks. That dog's using sniffing as an excuse. If you think of a dog as a table, 4 legs and a weight on one end. If he drops that weight to the ground, the table's going to tilt. More weight on the front, less weight on the back. You're going to end up with a dog that has got a really well-developed pectoral girdle up front. We're going to be talking about a dog that looks like Sebum in the front, and he's got chicken legs like the Roadrunner at the back. Here's another dog that is probably going to be a category 1, at best a category 2 dog. But he might not be overtly lame. You also need to briefly look at your unbalanced dog. So the way you pick this up, go and stand behind your dog and compare the size of, let's call it his hams, his back leg muscles. They need to be roughly the same size around the thick part above his knee. If one is smaller than the other, you've got an unbalanced dog. You might have a dog that's maybe had a cruciate ligament injury on that side, or he's got arthritis on that side. But either way, he's unbalanced. You treat him exactly the same way in terms of his exercise. The only thing you've then got to be really, really careful of is that he does the same amount of work on both sides. You need to try and stop him favoring that side as much as possible. In the early stages, he's going to do it a lot more, but as he builds muscle in that leg, so it should restore itself, and he'll then restore his balance and again be a happier dog. usually before, and this applies for all three categories, before we start our, let's call it gym routine or at-home routine, you're going to want to make sure that your dog's muscles are warm. So warm-up is the same for everybody. Now, the main thing with warm-up is that the dog stays calm during the process. So for that purpose, I tend to, Dex will be back in a minute, don't worry. I tend to prepare thank you, guys. I tend to prepare a little frozen treat. So all I've done with this is I've taken the glass bowl, smeared it full of peanut butter and stuck it in the freezer. The only thing with peanut butter, if you are going to use it, is to make sure that it is peanut butter that is just peanut butter, no sweeteners or flavorants or weird stuff like that in it. Certain of the sweeteners that dogs get in, or that humans use in peanut butter, are deadly to dogs. So it has to be pure 100% peanut butter. Okay, so Dex is busy. So all we're going to do, if you're going to be working on the back legs, literally is a little bit of a rub. It doesn't take much. It's just so that he can be a little bit cooler, a little bit more chilled. So the warm-up is what we call a passive range of motion, which is literally just asking his leg to move through its normal range of motion a couple of times, just 4 or 5 times a side, using his own, you're not pushing it into position. You're simply using his own leg muscles to move things about. Come on, Dex, one more time. If you can get your dog to actually lie down and do this, that's better. But really all you're trying to do is warm him up. You're going to do that from both sides, 3 or 4 passive range of motions, a little bit of a rub to keep him nice and warm, and you're ready to go. Right, so into your category 1 dog exercises. Let's quickly talk kit. The only thing you're going to need at this point for your dog in terms of equipment is a little thing that we call a reef picker. You buy this thing from an aquarium shop. It's a grabber, basically. It's got a little, now my one's fairly long. You need, depending on what kind of dog you need, you'll want a long one if you've got a little dog with short legs. You'll want a short one if you've got a tall dog with long legs. We'll find out why you need this piece of kit as soon as we get into the actual exercises. Category 1 dog is going to get the easiest exercises. So we're going to start with stuff that he's going to be doing at home. Our first exercise is a simple weight shift. The reason behind this is simply to try and get his muscles to fire, basically for his nervous system to remember that he's got those muscles. Get your dog standing as square as possible. You don't want him or her to be able to move forward. All you're going to be doing is a little shove forward until you get the muscles engaging in the back leg. So it's an inch at the most. You want to do that 10 times in each direction. You'll actually, if you get the camera in nice and close, you'll be able to see that muscle engage. Then we're going to do the same thing in reverse. So we're going to push her slightly backwards until we feel her hamstrings engaging. Then we're going to do it from side to side. So we get her abductors and her adductors moving. Those are the muscles that make the leg go towards the middle and away from the middle. And that's the first exercise you're going to be doing with your category 1 dog. Our next category 1 exercise is a 3-legged stand. Now at this level, we're going to want to do it just with a low leg lift and just for a short period of time. So all you're going to be doing, take a look, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be picking up one leg at a time and asking her to stand. We might need to put a lead on for that. Asking her to stand on 3 legs for a short period of time without leaning her weight on you, and let her put her foot down when she's ready. We're going to want to do that with each leg, one in turn. Come on, Lou. Good girl. That's about as long as she can comfortably go, and that's absolutely fine for your category 1 dog. Then your back leg. She's better with the back. I'll explain why in a minute. And the other one. There we go. That's your 3-legged stand. You're going to want to hold the leg up for about 10 seconds each leg, and you're also going to want to do that 3 times. The reason why Luna is more comfortable doing it with the back legs is because she's more comfortable taking weight on the front. The next thing you're going to want to teach your category 1 dog to do, if he can't already do it, is a nice tidy sit with both of his back legs pulled in close together. What we'll show you is a couple of stills where dogs are not doing nice tidy sits. Now, both of my volunteer dogs today do a nice tidy sit, but I'm going to show you how to get your dog into that position using whoever is willing to be a model. Dex, okay, so if you notice, Dex is sitting with his paw slightly facing outwards. So what we want to try and get him to do is to on his own do that. Now he does it very, very quickly. That's what you're going to be teaching your dog to do. You're going to be asking your dog to sit down, full flexion both sides, both feet pointing almost forward or only very slightly out. That's where we want your category 1 dog to finish as a category 1 dog. We spoke about dogs walking along with their noses on the ground. What they do this for, we call it in horses, is falling onto the forehand, and basically it is offloading their hind legs. So their hind legs become weak, their front legs become very strong. In order to counteract this, we use an exercise that we call head-up walking. The idea being to get the dog to tuck his bottom underneath himself, drive with his back legs instead of pulling himself along with his shoulders. So now we've got your category 1 dog out on the walk. A lot of category 1 dogs are going to be ground sniffers. So what we want them to do is we want your dog to actually walk for a short distance with his or her head up. For that purpose, we're going to use a little piece of kit that you buy from aquarium shops. They call them reef pickers. The longer the reef picker, the shorter the dog. This happens to be my one, and she's a tall dog, but we'll demonstrate in any case what we do with it. Treat, reef picker. Treat in reef picker, carrot in front of donkey. So what we're going to ask Luna to do, Luna, come baby girl, is Luna's going to go for a walk. Now usually Luna is quite a marked ground sniffer, but what we're asking her to do is walk with her head up, and for that reason we're using the carrot on the stick method to get her to not, good girl, well done baby girl, to get her to not drop her nose to the ground and sniff while she's actually walking. So the last thing that you're going to be doing with your category 1 dog as an exercise when you're on your walks is change the texture that she's walking on as often as you possibly can. The idea behind this is to get her feet used to feeling things, to activate a sense we call proprioception, which is the sense of knowing where in space you are. Come baby girl. So for Luna's purposes, we're going to be going from grass onto a bit of sand with some sticks. Lulu, come baby girl. And she's already showing interest in the different surface and the uneven places that she's walking. That, for a category 1 dog, is enough of a challenge to actually grow their proprioceptive sense if they've started to lose it. The object of all of these exercises is progression. We want our category 1 dog to become a category 2 dog. We want our category 2 dog to become a category 3 dog. Exactly the same as in human training, the trick is consistency. The more often you can do it, the quicker your dog will progress. And the other trick is what human trainers call progressive overload. So what that means is make his exercises a little bit harder every couple of days, even every week. It depends on how bad your dog is, how quickly he progresses. Hold his leg up in his 3-legged stand for a little bit longer or a tiny little bit higher. Get his head up walking by an extra maybe 5 or 10 yards every week. Try and get him doing it for longer. That kind of thing. We want him to get better, not to stay where he is. So on to our category 2 dog. This dog is going to be a little bit harder to spot, apart from the obvious, the category 1 graduate, because, yeah, hey, you know what, he's your dog. But this guy, he's going to be the dog that maybe on a day will stop chasing his ball a bit sooner. He has the odd day when he lags behind a bit on his walk, but he's not a constant ground sniffer, and to all intents and purposes, he looks completely normal. So with this dog, it's going to be a bit more difficult. What we need to do with him is we need to watch him move. And the easiest way to do that is actually to take a video of your dog moving from the side. Add a trot, a lope, but faster than a walk. What we're going to want to see is, does he pace or does he trot? The difference is a pace is front and back leg on the same side moving in the same direction, whereas a trot is front left moving in the same direction as back right and the opposite. So your dog is moving on a diagonal. The video will illustrate that quite well. Now, a dog that paces is more likely to be a category 2 dog. There's a caveat here, and some dogs will be dogs that pace by choice. The way to tell the difference is to speed up a little bit, run a bit faster for a while. A normal dog who paces because it's easier at that particular speed to pace is going to break into a trot at a higher speed. If you speed up and your dog either just paces faster or stumbles or breaks into a canter, then he's probably a category 2 dog, not a category 3 dog. If you have a dog, though, that is able to do all the category 2 exercises easily, but he still paces, then it's probably worth popping him into your vet or into a canine physio, because sometimes a fit dog who paces can actually be a sign of a dog that's got some nerve impingement or something else going on. So if you've got a dog that's completed all his category 2 exercises, he's fit as a fiddle, but he still paces, worth getting him checked. The other clue to whether or not your dog is a category 2 or 3 is watch him stand up out of a sit. Now, a dog standing up out of a sit is the equivalent of a human squat. If your dog can stand straight up without taking a step forward, well, he's probably a category 3, all things being equal. If he has to take a step forward and almost pull himself up out of his sit, chances are good he's at best a category 2. Let me explain. Pulling yourself up out of a squat, and I'm talking about a human being here, you're either going to lean forward or you're going to use your arms to get up out of your chair. This is the same as a dog using his front end by taking a big step forward to pull himself up out of a sit. A strong dog, a strong human, should be able to stand straight up out of a squat without leaning forward, stand straight up out of a chair without using the armrests. If your dog can't do that, he's probably a category 2. A word here on overweight dogs, I would put most overweight dogs automatically into category 2, because excess body weight can be a contributing factor to inflammation generally. So a dog that's overweight is going to automatically start off in category 2. It can be a really difficult thing to be objective about, but just very briefly, what you want is a waistline viewed from above and from the side. And the other thing that you want is to be able to, if you run your hands down the dog's body, is to easily feel his ribs. If you can't easily feel his ribs and your dog's parallel, then he's overweight. If you feel a detailed video on body condition scoring would be useful for you, here we're looking at how to evaluate where your dog fits in. Is he overweight? Isn't he? Are you feeding the right amount? Are you feeding the right diet? Let me know in the comments section afterwards, and I'll be quite happy to do a virtual vet visit on body condition scoring for you. So now we know how to identify our category 2 dog. Let's talk about the exercises for our category 2 dog. Kit first. All you're going to need, if you have a small dog, you're going to need a sort of broadish strap. You're not going to be holding your dog up with it, just a simple strap. And the other piece of kit that you're going to need is a step of some sort for a sort of medium-sized dog, about a 6-inch, but gauge it according to your dog's size. We'll find out what you're going to be doing with these pieces of kit shortly. Your category 2 dogs are stuff you can do at home. The first exercise I'm going to show you is a side step. So where you have a dog that's big enough, you're just going to be using both of your feet to encourage him to move sideways. So what I'm going to ask him to do, come Dex, take a step. It's all right, good boy. Come, take another step. Come. Good boy, well done. Up. Good boy, and another one. Let's go sideways. That's it. Good boy. And another one. Good boy. And another one. That's it. So that's your exercise. What you want him to be doing is 5 steps to the one side, then turn him back 5 steps to the other side. You want him to be doing this for 3 sets once a day. So when you have a slightly smaller dog than Dexter, Luna's also big enough, but when you've got a slightly smaller dog, what you can actually use is a strap. Now the idea here is to save your back. You don't necessarily want to hold her up with the strap. What you want the strap to be doing is to be guiding her movement. What I was doing with my legs with a bigger dog, you're going to be doing with a strap with a slightly smaller dog. Luna, over. There she goes. There she goes. Good girl. And again. Up. Your second category 2 dog exercise is going to be the same as we were doing in category 1. We're just going to elevate it a little bit, and this is a 3-legged stand. So, come up, my boy. How we're going to escalate it is we're going to lift the leg up a little bit higher, and we're going to ask him to stand longer. Now, Dexter's leaning on me, so I'm going to lean back a little bit. And what we're going to do, instead of holding it for about 10 seconds, we're going to try and build up to holding that for 20 seconds at a time. Well done, Dex. Then you're going to be doing that with all 4 legs, and you're going to be doing that twice. Try to build up to a 20-second hold and try and do that every day. So one of the most important exercises that we're going to do for your category 2 and 3 dog is going to be a sit to stand. As we said earlier, it's the equivalent of a doggy squat. It's quite an important exercise. Now, if your dog at the beginning of his category 2 journey cannot stand up unassisted without taking a step forward, it's absolutely fine to help him. So what you're going to have is you're going to have a hand in front of your dog's chest. You're going to have another hand under his belly. You're going to teach him the stand command. And as he stands up, you're going to help him. The progression being that eventually he can stand up out of that sit without you helping him, and more importantly, without taking a step forward. So when your dog can do 3 sets of 6 sit-to stands unassisted and without taking a step forward, he's ready to graduate to category 3. And the last thing you're going to be doing at home with your category 2 dog is, again, a weight shift, the same as we were doing before, but this time his legs, front legs are lifted up onto a step round about 6 inches high. Firm surface, not a soft surface at this stage, and we're going to do exactly the same exercise. So we're going to push slightly forward until his muscles engage. We're going to push him back to achieve the same thing. And we're going to do him from side to side. Both sides. I'm demonstrating with 4 reps, you'll be doing 10, but this video will go on forever if I go through the entire thing. Part of your category 2 cardio workout for your dog is going to simply be more difficult versions of what he did as a category 1 dog. So his head up walking, you're going to be having him doing it for longer, preferably without the bait, but if he still needs the bait, that's fine. And sometimes he's going to be able to do it up and down a slope, up the slope, down the slope, if you've got a suitable slope near your house. The other things he's going to be doing a little bit more, so he's going to be doing figure of 8s across the slope. We're going to have that demonstrated for us by the lovely Dex. All he's going to be doing is walking in a figure of 8 across the slope, a figure of 8 approximately 5 to 10 meters long, depending on how fit your dog is. Dex is very fit, so he can do a tighter one. And you're going to be doing that for 5 figures of 8 both ways. So we're going to now, if that's okay, coast reverse direction and go the other way. Both directions, 5 times each direction, and you're going to want to do that once or twice on each walk if you can. Then we're going to have him looking at things like thick sand, water. If your dog is a water baby, that's brilliant. Walking through water is a fantastic resistance exercise for him. It's much harder for him to move his legs. We're not talking about the dog swimming here. We're talking about the dog walking in wrist deep up to elbow deep water. The reason I'm saying this, a lot of dogs when they go swimming are actually going to cheat because they pull themselves along with their front legs and the back legs just wag around doing absolutely nothing. So you don't want necessarily your dog swimming. Swimming's great, but it's not the exercise. We want him walking through water, walking through thick sand. If you live near the beach like we do, it's ideal. So with these, how do you know when your dog's ready to progress? Well, if you have got him walking through water or through thick sand, when he can do it for 5 minutes at a trot without getting tired and without stopping, he's a fit dog. He's ready to move on to category 3. So on to our category 3 dogs. This is the completely normal older dog, or the dog with absolutely no symptoms who for some reason, and that's usually a pre-breed predisposition, brilliant, a breed predisposition to having certain joint problems. We're thinking about patella subluxations in Yorkshire Terriers. We're thinking about disc prolapses in Daxies. We're thinking about hip dysplasia and elbow dysplasia in some of our bigger breeds of dogs. We're thinking about the Labrador who lives to eat, not eats to live. And of course, the category 2 graduates. So now we're going to need some kit for our category 3 dog. Here we've got what we refer to as cavaletic poles. People who have horses will probably be familiar with it. People who don't, well, it's a new concept. So basically what it is, it's a pole that your dog is going to move over by putting one foot at a time in between each pole. So we don't want it at a distance too far apart unless your dog is really, really weak, that they put 2 feet in, and we don't want it too close together so he has to stilt his gait. So how we achieve that is we tailor-make the distance between each pole as well as the height of the pole to each individual dog. Your starting point for distance between the pole is a measurement from the dog's point of his shoulder. Now what that is, Dexy, come here baby, is the pointy bit on the front. So if you run your hand down his shoulder blade, you'll get to here and you'll feel a hard bone. What we're going to do is we're going to measure him from that point to the ground, and you can actually even mark this on his dog lead, and that is going to be the distance between each pole. Now for Dex, because he's an advanced dog, we've gone a little bit wider, but your starting point is exactly that measurement. In terms of the height, you want it to start off with be no higher than the dog's carpus or wrist from the ground. So this distance here, where you'll see he's got his joint here, you measure from that to the ground, and that or less is going to be your starting point. Now with your advanced dog, you can bring it up higher. You're asking him to lift his feet higher. And for your very advanced dog, you can vary that height. So you can make maybe one in the middle a little bit higher so he becomes aware of where his feet are and what they're doing at any one time. Dexy. Good boy, well done. Dexy, pose. Good boy.
Stay. Come.
Nice. Okay, so with Dexter being the strong dog that he is, we've upped the ante a little bit, which is things you can do with your category 3 dog. We've moved these poles a little bit further apart and we've put a slightly higher one somewhere in this cavaletti. He doesn't know where it is. Let's see if he finds it or not. Dexy, come. Poles. He kicked it. Let him try again. So he picked out the higher one by tripping over it. Let's see if he can do it this time. Dexy? Good boy. So our next at-home exercise, we're going to be using that same step that we used before. This time we're going to be asking Dex to do a side step with his front legs elevated. So off we go. Dex to the side. Good boy. And again. Good boy. Now back. And this way again. And that's really, really good. If your dog copes really easily with this, we're going to try an even more difficult challenge for him by making his hard surface unstable. Okay, now we've got Dex up on that same step, but this time we've taken the supports out, so it's unstable. So we're going to see how he copes with that. Okay, Dexy up. Well done. Good. Well done, my boy. Now we're going to ask him to take a little step with his back leg, see if he can. Very good, Dexy. And this way. He's battling a little bit with it. It's a brand new exercise for him, but that makes your side step with the front leg elevated that little bit more difficult for your advanced dog. So your last at-home exercise that you're going to be doing with your category 3 dog is the exercise I call bean cans, and it's an introduction to what agility dogs do as a slalom or a slalom pole. what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have 3 or more obstacles. I normally say 3 is enough, obstacles laid out in a straight line. Now initially you're going to start off with those obstacles 2 dog lengths apart. For Dex, he's a little bit more advanced. We've brought them together to slightly more than 1 dog length apart. And the idea is to get your dog weaving between them. Now initially he's not going to come very close to the can because he doesn't understand the exercise. So you can let him walk out, turn around, come back again. As he starts to understand it, you're going to escalate it by first bringing him closer to the obstacle and then bringing the obstacle closer together up to a limit of a half a dog length apart. So let's see how Dex copes with these. Come on, Dex, to your bean cans.
Good boy. Oh, you know. Right, ready? Come. Up, up. Come. Yes. Up. Come.
Well done, Dex. Good boy. Well done. So with your category 3 dog, your cardio workouts are going to be the most fun because here the sky's the limit. Be guided by what you and your dog enjoy. If you've got a dog that enjoys running, jumping, chasing something, use that to make his enjoyment absolutely paramount. A word quickly about these things. I'm not a fan of a ball thrower. The reason why I'm not a fan of a ball thrower is because it launches that ball incredibly high and incredibly far. And a lot of dogs will get airborne and land with a huge amount of impact when that ball lands and they come to catch it. And that is a surefire way to injuring a dog's hips, to injuring a dog's iliopsoas. Ball throws are fine. Keep it on the ground, particularly for your category 1 and 2 dogs. Now Luna is our ball mad dog. She's ready for it to go. So let's show you the right way to use this for Luna. Lulu, ready? So Luna's ball has been hidden and we're going to ask her to go and find it. Luna, where's your ball? Find it. Find it. Find it. Good girl. Well done. Good girl. For your category 3 dog, it's very, very handy to have some basic obedience under the belt so that you can get him into a sit, get him into a stay, go and hide his toy, send him to find it. It makes life so much fun. If you have a dog that enjoys pulling things, this is also great. The only thing with it is make sure that you've got the right harness, the right kit, that whatever it is that he's pulling actually can't run up his bottom and hurt him. I know when I had Samoyeds, they used to absolutely love going into their sledding harness and pulling me around on the bicycle. It's huge fun. Carts, it doesn't really matter. If that's what your dog enjoys, make use of it. He's going to absolutely love it. Some dogs are water babies. If you've got a dog that's a swimmer, brilliant. Let him swim, let him run through water, let him do whatever he needs to do. It doesn't matter. So here, the sky is the limit. If you can do stuff that your dog is going to find enjoyable, that you and your dog are going to benefit from hugely, do it. You know, you have him jumping up onto things to fetch his toy or to fetch a treat. It's great. You've got a fit, strong dog. You want to keep him that way. Have fun. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. If you've got questions about any of the exercises, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I'll do my very best to answer them. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider dropping me a like or a comment. And maybe one day I can even earn a subscription from you. I'd also really love to hear about any of the fun things you do with your dog to keep him fit and healthy. You guys are an absolute treasure trove of great ideas. So feel free to drop in the comments. I'm always keen to hear about what you get up to with your own pets. Until the next time, take care and enjoy your pets.